Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Emily, here with my co-host, John. Hi, John.
Hi, Emily. Hi, listeners. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and essential topic for anyone who's learning English or adapting to a new cultural environment: cultural nuances. These are the subtle, unspoken rules and expectations that vary across cultures and can be challenging to navigate.
Exactly. Cultural nuances influence everything, from how you greet people to how you respond to compliments. For language learners, understanding these unspoken rules can be just as important as learning the words themselves. Without this understanding, even a grammatically perfect sentence can land poorly in a conversation.
In this episode, we'll explain what cultural nuances are, why they're challenging, and most importantly, how to navigate them with confidence. We'll share strategies, practical examples, and tips to help you adapt seamlessly to any cultural context.
Let's dive in. To start, let's define cultural nuances. John, how would you describe them?
Cultural nuances are the subtle, often unspoken elements of communication and behavior specific to a particular culture. These nuances include gestures, body language, tone of voice, and even the way people perceive time or silence. They're like the invisible glue that holds cultural interactions together.
That's a great way to put it. For example, in the United States, people commonly say, "Hi, how are you?" as a friendly greeting. But they're not necessarily expecting a detailed response. On the other hand, in cultures like India, that same question might lead to a longer conversation about health and family.
Exactly. Another example is how people interpret gestures. A thumbs up might mean good job in many countries, but in others, it could be considered impolite or even offensive.
These small differences might seem trivial, but they can have a big impact on communication. They often determine whether an interaction feels natural or awkward.
And the beauty is, you don't have to master every nuance. Simply being aware of them and making an effort to adapt shows respect and helps you build rapport with others. Why are cultural nuances challenging?
Now let's address why cultural nuances can be so tricky for language learners.
One major reason is that they're rarely taught in traditional language classes. Most courses focus on grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, not on the subtler aspects of communication, like how to interpret a pause or the meaning behind an indirect no.
That's true. Another challenge is that these nuances are often implicit. They're so ingrained in daily life that native speakers don't think to explain them. For example, in some Asian cultures, it's polite to decline a gift initially even if you want it. A learner unfamiliar with this custom might interpret the refusal literally and miss an important social cue.
Then there's the fear factor. Many learners worry about offending someone or looking awkward. This fear can hold them back from engaging in cultural exchanges or even trying to learn from their mistakes.
Exactly. But here's the silver lining. Most people are forgiving and appreciate your effort to learn their culture. Mistakes often lead to meaningful conversations and learning opportunities.
The key is to approach each situation with curiosity and an open mind. Think of cultural missteps as stepping stones to better understanding.
Let's look at some real-life scenarios where cultural nuances come into play and discuss how to handle them effectively.
Greeting someone new.
Imagine meeting someone for the first time in different cultural contexts. In the US, a firm handshake and eye contact are common, signaling confidence and trust. But in countries like Japan, a bow is more appropriate.
In this situation, it's helpful to observe first. If you're unsure whether to shake hands or bow, take cues from the other person. And when in doubt, a smile is almost universally appreciated.
That's right, you could also ask, what's the customary way to greet someone here? People are usually happy to guide you.
Sharing a meal.
Dining customs can vary widely. For instance, in many Asian cultures, it's polite to serve others before serving yourself. But in Western cultures, helping yourself from a communal dish might be the norm.
If you're invited to a meal, pay attention to how others behave. Are they using utensils or eating with their hands? Do they leave food on their plate or finish everything? Matching the local customs shows respect.
Also, don't hesitate to ask questions like, "Is there a specific way I should eat this?" Showing curiosity demonstrates your willingness to learn.
Navigating workplace etiquette.
Workplace culture is another area where nuances matter. For example, in Germany, meetings are typically punctual and formal, while in Brazil, it's common for meetings to start with casual conversation.
Adjusting your approach based on the cultural context is key. If you're in a more formal environment, stick to business topics initially. In a casual setting, don't rush to the agenda. Building rapport first is important.
And if you're unsure, ask a colleague for guidance. Questions like, how do meetings usually work here, can help you navigate expectations.
Communicating with government officials. Imagine you're at a government office applying for a visa. The interaction is formal, and the way you communicate can make a big difference.
Good morning, how can I assist you today?
Good morning, I'm here to submit my visa application. Could you please guide me through the next steps?
Certainly. Do you have all the required documents?
Yes, I've brought everything. Please let me know if there's anything else you need.
In this example, the tone is polite and professional. Using phrases like, could you please, and let me know if, shows respect, which is especially important in formal settings.
And being prepared, having your documents neatly organized, shows that you value their time and are serious about the process. Meeting new neighbors.
Next, let's consider a casual situation. Introducing yourself to new neighbors. Hi, I'm Emily. I just moved in next door and wanted to introduce myself.
Hi, Emily. Welcome to the neighborhood. How are you settling in?
Thank you. I'm still unpacking, but it's been great so far. Do you have any recommendations for local restaurants?
This kind of friendly introduction creates a positive first impression. Notice how Emily keeps the tone light and approachable.
And adding a smile and open body language makes the interaction even more welcoming.
Social gatherings. Social gatherings can feel intimidating, especially when you're unsure about cultural norms. Here's an example.
This is a great party. How do you know the host?
Oh, we're colleagues. How about you?
I'm their neighbor. It's so nice to meet everyone here. At social events, asking open-ended questions like, how do you know the host? Keeps the conversation engaging without being intrusive.
And don't forget to thank the host before leaving. A simple, thank you for having me, I had a wonderful time, is polite and leaves a good impression.
Now let's focus on strategies to help you become more confident in understanding and adapting to cultural nuances.
Observe and mirror.
Observation is your best friend. Watch how locals interact. Notice their gestures, tone, and social norms. For instance, do they interrupt each other in conversations, or do they wait for a pause?
Once you've observed, try mirroring their behavior. This doesn't mean copying exactly, but aligning your approach to fit the context. Build a cultural cheat sheet.
Create a cheat sheet of key cultural norms for the places you visit. Include things like common greetings, dining etiquette, and gestures to avoid. It's a simple way to prepare for new environments.
Practice role-playing. Role-playing is an excellent way to build confidence. Practice common scenarios with a friend or tutor, such as introducing yourself, making small talk, or handling formal interactions. Use context clues.
Context often provides hints about the appropriate behavior. For example, if you're in a formal setting, err on the side of politeness. In casual settings, relax and follow the lead of those around you.
Learn key phrases and responses. Memorizing key phrases can smooth over many interactions. Phrases like, could you explain that? Or, thank you for your patience are polite and universally appreciated. Embrace mistakes.
Mistakes are part of the process. If you accidentally offend someone, a sincere apology and willingness to learn go a long way.
Vocabulary deep dive.
Let's expand on some key terms to solidify your understanding.
Nuance. A subtle difference in meaning or behavior. Example. Understanding nuances can help you avoid miscommunication.
Etiquette. Expected polite behavior. Example. Good etiquette at the dinner table shows respect for your host.
Rapport. A relationship of trust and mutual understanding. Example. Building rapport with colleagues improves teamwork.
Context. The circumstances that surround a situation. Example. The context of a meeting determines its tone and structure.
Nonverbal cues. Communication without words, such as gestures and facial expressions. Example. In many cultures, a nod is a nonverbal cue for agreement.
To recap, we explored what cultural nuances are, why they can be challenging, and strategies for mastering them. From observing and mirroring behaviors to practicing role-playing, every step brings you closer to cultural fluency.
We also shared practical scenarios, such as greeting someone, dining etiquette, and navigating workplace culture, along with actionable tips to handle them with confidence.
Remember, adapting to cultural nuances is a journey. The more you engage and reflect, the more you'll grow.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this episode helpful, subscribe to the English Learning Podcast and share it with a friend. Until next time, happy learning.